Aha. Okay, so it looks like that side you have a little, there it goes.
Already? Crazy hair? All right. So, welcome. There we go. Looks like we have some people tuning in. Hi, Brittany. Welcome. Brittany, if you could let us know if you can hear and see all right, that would be really helpful. Before I get started with the show, I like to make sure the tech is working, so I'm not sitting here just talking to myself in spirit. All right, Jill, Kelly, Natalka, Bernardino, Scorpio, Brittany, Jen, welcome everyone. Jan, Rachel, Megan. Okay, Alex, thank you. Everybody can hear and see all right. Very good. All right, I do want to make a couple quick announcements before we go ahead and start taking your questions. However, you guys could start posting now, so post your questions in the comment feed here. Paul, my adorable producer, how are you, Paulie?
I'm very lovely, thank you. How are you tonight?
I'm good.
Good.
Paul appreciates if you include names, as do I, as does Spirit. If you include the name of someone you're referring to, a deceased loved one you want to hear from, or the name of a lover that you're asking about, or if you're between a couple different jobs, you don't know which one to pick, put the name down. It saves time, and I can get onto your neighbor faster for their questions. Now, if you are asking about a job, it's understandable. You may not want to put the name of the company down for privacy purposes. So at least put the initials down, okay? I do also want to invite you guys to check out last night's Sunday service. So we have church second week last night for Roots Revival Interfaith, and that is now up on YouTube, Pandora, Google Play, iTunes, everywhere else there's a podcast. Check it out. Last night we were preaching on, I believe it, what was the official title on that one?
It was called Excellence.
Excellence in Our Times, Truths Revealed.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and then we had service the week before. That was our very first service. That was also excellent. So I want to just invite you guys to check out weekly Sunday service, Church with Us, at 8 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube and at all the other places that I mentioned. All right, tomorrow we do have a free mini class coming up. Now, since the pandemic hit, I've been doing one free mini class per week called the Quarantine Series. If you want to check them all out, hit the playlist. Paulie has organized everything. It absolutely blows my mind. And tomorrow I have Reverend Dani Johnson from Roots Revival coming on to talk with me about the divine feminine and how, regardless of racism and the patriarchy and the attempts to eradicate feminine wisdom, power, strength, we have such an incredible endurance. And this is a time numerologically, astrologically, and otherwise where the divine feminine is coming back into power. And so this is definitely something you guys are going to want to check out. We, of course, have a ton of other free mini classes coming up. Some of them are Stop Overgiving Without the Guilt. That's going to be on the 19th at 8 p.m. Breaking Generational Curses and Myth Busting surrounding that on the 26th at 8 p.m. Healed People Hear Differently. That's going to be on February 2nd at 8 p.m. And Are You a Psychic, a Medium, or an Empath? Where I tell you what your abilities are. That's going to be on Thursday, February 4th at 8 p.m. Now, that one is also kind of a precursor, I guess you could say, to my Psychic Mediumship course that begins on the 16th. If you were hoping to train with your psychic, mediumistic, or empathic abilities, you are going to want to register for that soon, and you can check out details on that class at ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com. Are we doing good? We have some questions coming in?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. I did want to add, though, also in regards to the playlist, if you're on Ivy's site, booking a reading, there is also a page there that has all of the mini classes all set up and clickable as well, so that you can really access them pretty much anywhere, and you don't have to dig through YouTube. But you can go right there, see the graphics, see the class you want, bingo, bango, and then book a reading with Ivy. So
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I did not even know that was up there. All right, awesome. So yeah, if you want to book a reading with me, you can go to IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com, and apparently all the classes are up there as well. Okay, so welcome everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino era walk, and I run a school called the Ivy League Psychic Academy, where I train people internationally, online, in everything from psychic mediumship development to tarot, astrology, numerology, meditation, Reiki, children as well as adults, you name it, we do it. So I welcome you to check out the classes there. Now tonight what you've got is an Ask Ivy show. Every Monday I come on here and I take your questions. So personal questions, spiritual questions, psychic, mediumistic, paranormal, lost objects, anything is fair game. Again, do include names of whoever you're referring to. Paul will be taking the questions as he sees fit, and as many as we can over here on the side. If you want to become a member here on YouTube for behind the scenes extras, direct messages, extra curriculum and things like that, you can hit the join button, and we do appreciate donations, so you can hit that donation button here. I do want to invite everyone to please like this video right now as we get started. Feel free to subscribe if you are enjoying the sound of any of this. And if you hit that bell, you'll get alerts when I post something. So let's all hit that like button. Thanks so much. Thank you, Jill Marie, for your donation. And that little fox. I am loving that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We'll get to as many as we can.
Okay. Speaking of members, I'm going to start with a new member we have, Jan.
Oh, welcome.
Did my brother Jack have my parents change their will after 2017?
Did Jack say that again?
Did my brother Jack have my parents change their will after 2017?
Well, I can't accuse, so I'm not stating this as though it's a fact. Of course, this is just my interpretation of what I'm looking at. I do feel that there was a fair amount of manipulation going on here, and I do feel that the manipulation was happening in many different areas. And so there was almost a sense of leverage. So I feel that this individual may have been able to coerce your parents in a lot of different ways, mostly your mother, because your father feels a bit out of it, but through things like, fear tactics. They may have developed some fear over things like being made uncomfortable, or that they may have gotten neglected. There is a subtle manipulation that comes from Jack's personality that would also involve intermittent outbursts of anger and aggression. And I think the combination made for it to be very easy for him to manipulate in any areas that he really felt he wanted to, and they would have been compliant. So you could take that however you understand it, but it doesn't look good to me. Okay, I'm sorry to hear about that. Okay, we have another one?
We do.
Okay.
This one is from Megan.
Okay.
Is there any spiritual connection with night terrors? My 1-year-old niece Hannah has been having them lately.
Well, I would wonder if she is going through a bit of an awakening, a kundalini, an enlightenment herself. It's not at all uncommon to see a child be activated right around the age of 3, but it can happen a bit earlier under different circumstances. And so a child who was really going to be activated at 3 years old, and then the next big level up is between 5 and 6 years old, and then the next one is 14 to 16. So those are all the ages with children we want to look at. We do have a full training on this called Intuitive Kids up on my website. But, the thing is with her, she is over absorbing a lot of energy from others around her. So one of the things that happens with a highly sensitive, we would say, child, a child who's very mediumistic and empathic, basically, is they accidentally take on the energy of those around them, as do adults. And because of the condition of the world right now, all the stressors, all the aggravation, and her being in the house with adults who are not channeling that out very well. I don't see them blocking. I see them over-absorbing. I see them developing stress conditions. She's basically reading the energy around her. So while she doesn't understand what's going on with politics, and she doesn't understand what's happening on the news, and she doesn't understand the pandemic, her parents do. Others around her do. And in order to process all of that, every human being who has a buildup of stressful energy or a problem that seems to need to be solved, it comes out at night. I don't feel that she's under any kind of paranormal attack as much as I feel that her being highly sensitive or having a heightened level of intuitive intelligence is what's actually causing this problem for her. I have a free mini class up here called Empaths in the Pandemic, where I talk about it. That one is not adjusted for children, but it would help you to understand, and it could help her parents to help her. We also have parent-to-child empathic awareness training, which is going to be essential here if you go to IvyRiveraEmpathiceducator.com. A lot of people are probably feeling like that baby is right now. Overwhelmed, depressed, not sleeping, nightmares, anxiety. I can't prescribe a diagnosis, but it's from overabsorption of other people's toxic thoughts and energy, and it is inescapable right now. We have to use blocking and cleansing tools.
Very good.
Yeah.
I know this is tough on 2 minutes, but Jill is asking,
Okay.
am I on my life contract path, or where am I off on how to get back on?
Okay, and which, Jill, do we have a last name here?
Yes, last name is Clements.
Clemens? So that's tough. So I do something called life contract readings, and they take 45 minutes, okay? So that's up on my website if you ever want to take a look at what you signed on to before you came to Earth. But let's try to do this in 2 minutes. She just wants to know if she's on her life path. Was there something specific?
Yeah, on or where am I off and how to get back on.
Where am I off? Okay. Well, so what I do see right now, let's just say it this way. Your working money guide, your joy guide. Your joy guide watches over your emotional and mental well-being. Your joy guide is also the one who watches over your spiritual development. Your working money guide watches over your life contract. When I have the two of them step forward and talk about what I should say to you right now, it is this. You must speak. You have got to clear your throat chakra. You have to be in a place right now where you are willing to be of service, where you are willing to give your energy. You are willing to share your opinions, your wisdom, your guidance. I don't care if it's at the grocery store, next to the Reese's peanut butter cups with some guy who's babbling. I don't care if it's on social media, in some kind of a forum, or if somebody just needs a healing or some kind of message delivered. In any situation where you are being, I tell my students, it's almost like you're being tested. You need to identify those as opportunities, and you need to start opening your mouth and freely giving. I also feel like you're being tested in some other relationships and situations in your life where possibly people are trying to hold you down or limit you or stifle you or get you under the boot and to say, stay in your place. This is where you belong. Don't talk on this. Don't rock the boat. And you're going to have to be like, whatever, hallelujah, I'm here to rock the boat, and like, I'm here to shine, and don't let it burn your eyes, or do, but don't care anymore. You've got to start flowing, and then the rest of it will become more obvious. That would be the equivalent of taking a blind step forward in faith, and then getting to see what's next.
Okay, we have one from Renee.
Okay.
Do you see me and my boyfriend Eloy getting married?
I think that it's possible. His energy tends to be a little bit more detached and distant. And I get a lot of sense from him that he can be just kind of your traditional male with that, men who were trained not to explore communication or connecting their actions to their emotions and their thoughts. I don't see a lot of connectivity there. And so that's just sort of makes him a little unavailable in some ways. However, the other thing I see here is you having almost like a keen awareness, an ability to sort of go in and I don't want to say manipulate him, but I do feel like you understand different parts of his personality, and you understand what he would be willing to do and what he may not even identify that he wants. And I think that you have an ability to sort of convince, or sway him in that direction. And I think that if you were to continue to do that, almost like a proposal in itself, a suggestion of where things need to go, I do think that you could be, looking at an engagement, a marriage, all of that. But the personalities stay the same. That doesn't change anything. So basically the way that he is, the way that you've always known him to be, that remains. And so it's kind of really up to you whether you push this and get this or not. On its own, I'm not so sure that it will happen if you don't do that.
Okay. This one is from Anne.
Okay.
All right, I'm sorry. Anna.
Okay.
Will the animals that have been treated so poorly receive justice, or will E get away with it?
I think that he's partially going to get away with this. I think that the penalty will not be as severe as what is deserved, but there will be a penalty. And I think that it's important to remember that this is part of a much larger story, that what we sign on to before we come to Earth, including animals, is part of an agreement that we make with ourselves for a higher purpose. And they are part of a bigger story. And I think that it will make you feel as though justice has been better served if you continue to tell the story of what they went through and to keep fighting the good fight. Is it as much as it should be? Probably not. Definitely not. But in a way, there's no way to get justice on something like that. But I do feel ultimately that I guess I'm looking at the judge, ultimately, I think they could do a better job, but it's also not nothing. So I think that it's a story that you're meant to tell and repeat and show again and again and again. And that's where more of their justice lies than even what would happen through this penalty. Okay. It's in getting others to get on board with fighting for better laws and protection.
Okay. Excuse me. This one is from Anne.
Okay.
Had severe vertigo with no warning. I was just about to pass out. My right arm shot up to shoulder level. As it slowly lowered, the vertigo decreased. I had no control of my arm. Any idea what happened?
Well, I can't prescribe or diagnose. I am assuming that you've gone to doctors and that they're telling you they can't figure out what's going on. Okay, as most of my clients, that this is not uncommon. I wish I could say, oh, wow, that sounds like some kind of medical condition, this and that. But a lot of people in light working field have horrible situations with vertigo. And I think that what's important to really examine here is that you're not worrying about this. You're going and you're seeking whatever medical treatment you can. And I think that you also need to be documenting what else is going on. So what a lot of people like to do is put it in one category or the other. It's either spiritual or energetic, or it's medical. The body doesn't work that way. The human condition doesn't work that way. There's always an underlying issue. Even if you can get a medical diagnosis, there's something energetically going on. It's sort of like thinking in terms of, once we have developed a disease or something, there's something mental and emotional or even past life sometimes underlying there. So we really want to look at this in an almost with a research type of mentality on. So I see you putting on your almost like private investigator hat and taking out a journal that I think you should be keeping with you. I do have your protector guide here as well as your protector angel. And I feel you being in what looks to me like a car, and then it looks like the grocery store and just something else that looks almost like Walmart or Target or something. And I see you having this notebook with you, like in your purse, basically, and being able to take it out wherever you are and talk about how you're feeling. Talk about what kind of environment you were in. Talk about what may have triggered it. I think you need to pay attention to noise sensitivity, light sensitivity, how many people are around you, how much activity is going on, and see if you're not accidentally being triggered by the outside circumstances that eventually are building up in your body and leading to this. Again, I would recommend, as I did to the child earlier that we were talking about, empathic awareness training. Go to Ivy Rivera, empathiceducator.com, and look at the basic training. Once you learn how to manage energy, put it back out, block properly, we do tend to see a lot of issues, especially with vertigo and anxiety and light noise sensitivity, or even a lot of like ADHD-like symptoms. A lot of people see an alignment there also with almost like autistic symptoms. We do tend to be able to manage it better. So start with those things. And of course, if you haven't already done so, see your doctor. But I see you getting some answers there as well.
Okay. This next one is from Danielle, and it's her birthday today.
Awesome. Happy birthday, Danielle.
She said, this is tougher than most days. She's missing her ma, Sharon, who passed in 2018.
Okay.
She's wondering if there are any messages from her.
Well, it's funny because I have your mom here, and I'm sort of doodling as I'm waiting for this question to come out, and she just kept writing like pot stickers, which are Chinese. It's Chinese food. It's like dumplings, but they're pot stickers. I don't know how to describe them, but they I guess they stick. They're kind of they're kind of sticky. And she makes me feel like I'm looking at some kind of like chicken and vegetables or something like that with chopsticks, and it's almost like she wants you to treat yourself. Okay, so she wants you to treat yourself. She wants you to know that she's here, smiling and trying to uplift you. And she just said, this is a day where we want to celebrate you. This isn't a day to feel sad about what isn't there or who isn't there or what losses are happening. This is a day to celebrate what is. And I want you to start changing your thinking, your mentality with the holidays and with your birthday and with anniversaries and with her birthday and with she's just like, there are so many. You could just have a miserable year, beginning to end, back to back to back to back, a miserable year if we keep doing this. We need to not be triggered by these things in a negative way. We need to take them as an opportunity to celebrate who we are, what we have, and she said where we're going. Okay, and that is something in your life that's really important right now. Where are you going? And look at all the blessings that you have. Look at the things that you're accomplishing. And look at what's right around the corner, because it's a very bright future for you. But it is important. I don't care if it's Chinese food or if it's something, some kind of takeout or just something that you really enjoy. I feel like it's important. And she makes me feel like she would, she is, there with you doing this. But that's something that you guys would have been doing, is like having just like it's kind of like a low key special, meal together and just chatting and laughing. And she just loves you so much, and she doesn't want any of that to end. Okay. It doesn't have to. She also talks to you a lot when you're in the bathroom. So that's kind of an odd statement, but so it's a native belief that because of the porcelain in the water and the mirrors and the earth, that these are all conductors of communication, and that's very true. And it works when you have something called clairaudient ability, where spirits can come and put thoughts in your head. So not all your thoughts are your own. You should know that. But you have clairaudient ability, and she has clairaudient ability. And so it's like telepathy, So she comes through, especially when you're in the bathrooms. But I see you taking a shower and just kind of using a scrub or something and pampering yourself, and I feel like she's trying to gift you something like this and is chatting with you during that time. So pay attention. She loves you very, very much. Don't be sad. Okay? Don't be sad. Celebrate you. How beautiful you are. Celebrate.
That's great. This one is from Anna Marie.
Okay. So many Annas.
Yeah. It's
Anne. There's so many.
There are.
That's funny, because I have another one written right here. Okay, so the next one is for her. All right, what's going on there?
I constantly feel like I am tense and unable to truly relax on the level that I want to be able to.
Okay.
Do you have any insight on why or how I can relax?
Well, when mom with the pot stickers was coming through, there was somebody coming through for you also who drew an arrow going backward, okay, by your name. And so what this is going to mean is that you have a couple people watching over you here who are trying to help you to process your past. Something happened that is unresolved, that is negatively affecting you. We don't want to think of things from our past as being done and over with, okay? I wish life were that easy. Sometimes we go through a healing process and we think, okay, I'm over it. I did everything I was supposed to do. I got the therapy. I read the books. I applied the skills. And I'm controlling my mind. You still have layers of healing to do. And you are surrounded right now by some triggers. And this would have started about 3 or 4 ago. That could be weeks. I was feeling more months. Take it however you understand it. It could be both. But because of this, you do have a lady who watches over you in a maternal way. Feels like, grandmother, mom energy here. She would have also been kind of a nervous person. And a lot of her nervousness came from trauma. And also some issues with money. So I'm not saying she lived through the Great Depression necessarily, but there's a mentality there of need or lack. And those would have been triggers for her that would have been sort of passed down generationally, okay? The Breaking Generational Curses class that I have coming up will be great for you on here. But she's trying to help you, and you have guides over here that are also trying to help you process this, but you seem to be very resistant. You don't like to be introspective. And when you start to feel any negative way, you have a tendency to want to look outside you and fix it with things or blame circumstances. And you have to stop. You are going to have to do the hard work, okay? So I want you to stop. I want you to go inward 10 minutes. Don't overdo it. And ask what's going on with your thoughts and your feelings, what it is stemming from, and get to that root issue. We talked, our first church service last week at Roots Revival was on alchemy. And you're going to want to go back and watch that. That's also up here on YouTube.
Okay. I'm going to take a minute here to run through a few things. I want to thank Jill C., Jill M., Carrie, Natalka, Anna Marie for their donations. And we have a new member, Anne, another Anne, oddly, right? Thank you so much. It means so much. And Megan said, thank you so much. Jill said, amazing. Thank you. Soothing and verifying, grateful for you and your teaching. Anna said, thank you so much. And Danielle said, thank you so much. Chinese was her favorite.
Yeah.
And she does understand. And oddly enough, Scorpio Mom said that she was heating up pot stickers right now. So
well, we know who's at your house, right? Her ma. Yeah. So that's awesome. I love that that's her favorite food. That's so great. Well, thank you for that confirmation. Thanks, everyone, for the donations. And welcome, new member. Okay.
Yes. Okay, and it's a great crowd too. Danielle had mentioned it was her birthday, and everyone's wishing her happy birthday.
Aww.
You guys are very sweet. I love seeing that.
In good company.
Good company. This is from Brooke.
Okay.
Me and my significant other Matt are trying to buy a house. We have a potential. My question is this one finally going to work out?
I think that it probably will. I'm seeing mud, and that's going to be about springtime or at least close to it, like snow melting. That's symbolic of approaching the change of a season. And I feel that in regards to this symbol, right, of like mud and melting of snow and just kind of dirt, like even the house looks dirty. Everything's dirty at the end of winter. It's just kind of a gross time. But the thing is, that also seems to represent, according to your guides here, especially your work and money guide, who's working very closely with you on this, of circumstances melting away, obstacles being eliminated, the change of seasons, the blooming of the new, the old becoming new. And so I am under the impression that this may definitely work out. I also feel you having to push. Now, I don't know if you're the one who directs more in the relationship, or like you are the one who handles the finances, or you're the one who's a little bit more savvy when it comes to business management and things like this. But I see you being the voice. I see you being the push. I see you being the one out of the two of you who steps up and speaks directly and says, let's push. Here's what I can bring to the table. Here's what I want. Here's what I want it by. And it's almost like you doing that is heard more, and he may be dismissed more. And so I think that you are also potentially dealing with someone who is like slow or lagging in their understanding that buying a house is an emotional, long process, especially in a pandemic, and you mean business, okay? And so I think this isn't, I think some real estate agents, especially in this economy and with what's happening right now with COVID, are not functioning on the same level that they used to. And so there's a level of unpredictability there, and we don't want this ending up like on a desk collecting dust when it needs to be go, go, go. Okay, so push your agenda. I do think you're going to pull this off. It's all about you. It's all about you.
Okay, this one is from Natalka.
Okay.
Is it in my life contract for me to get married?
Well, there is definitely a possibility for it here. So when I look at a life contract, I see what's written in the planets. So if you were to go to our astrologer here, Christina Del Rey, she would talk to you about Western astrology. If you were to look at Vedic or numerology, you're probably going to see patterns of all the same thing. And for you, it seems like you have 2 to 3 different options over the course of your life where marriage, or what we would call a long-term commitment, comes to the forefront, and contenders for that position would also come to the forefront. And for you, I'm feeling 3 to 4 years. And it is about the 3rd year out from now where we would see you with an opportunity to choose someone. And the 3rd year going into the 4th year has a dividing line. Now, whenever I see a dividing line like this, it means that your life is going to look very different. From the 3rd year to the 4th year, it's almost like you're not going to recognize it. But the fact that we're talking about the potential for a long-term commitment or marriage is probably one of the factors that make it look that different. We're talking about a merging of finances, residency, all that jazz. And so there it is again, coming up for you. Now, there are going to be a lot of changes around that time. And whether or not you accept this or you decide to do it, you're still going to have a very major leveling up and influence on the world around you, and an increase in your finances and all of that around the same time. So it's not like that's dependent upon marriage. But I could see you debating a little bit, and I think that this person, isn't perfect. Nobody is, but you may be willing to say, I'm willing to put in the time and the energy on this one because it does have soulmate connection. It does have the potential for both of us to help our lives grow and level up, especially with the financial merging aspect. And I think this is something I want to do and try out. And remember, it doesn't have to come up as marriage anywhere. You may get other readings that people say, well, marriage is not an option. Marriage is just a word. It's the long-term commitment that we want to be looking at. Okay.
Okay. This one is from Lola Marie.
Okay.
Will I be moving soon, or did I get scammed?
I do feel like there is a scam going on here, but I also feel like you're going to be moving. So I feel like we're talking about 2 separate things. In regards to you moving, I think that you're going to be able to do this. I feel you being conflicted, though. It's almost like there's a holdup, and sometimes you seem to be the holdup itself. And so there's sort of a back and forth, a back and forth, a back and forth, like a hemming and hawing. And I see that over here to the future. So what we're going to be looking at over the course of the next like 6 to 7 months, and then more of a stabilizing of the situation in the 8th month out from now. What we're looking at is you being able to collect all of the information, dot your I's, cross your T's, and really go more assertively after what it is that you want. There's not going to be any movement if there's that hesitancy from you. In regards to the other thing, I do feel that there's some level of deception going on. I also feel you calling it and calling it out and pointing fingers at it. And it reminds me of a situation that can be like quickly reversed. So I think do what you have to do. Yeah.
Okay, this one is from Lisa.
Okay.
She says, I had a dream the other day. Someone had a gun pointed at me with my head turned away, pleading for my life. What could it mean?
Okay, so her dream, there was a gun pointed at her and she was turning the other way.
Yeah, my head
From it,
yep.
pleading for her life.
Yep.
Okay. So when we look at dream analysis, and you guys can always drop me if you would need a dream analyzed. I do 1-question email reads, and that'll give you a little bit more, individual attention on these. But it is important to look, especially at dreams where you're being attacked in any way. We need to talk to your protector guide and find out what's really happening here. So typically with a gun, we're talking about deception. We're talking about someone trying to overpower you or some situation in your life currently that is trying to disable you in some way. Now, we would also want to look at who's holding the gun. In this case, I think she said that it was a male. So males are going to represent authority, dominance, toxic masculinity. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
And the fact that this position of authority, this person in your life, right, is coming at you in that way and holding the gun, then we have to look to what part of the body. So we break it down a little further. Okay, it's like step by step with dream analysis. So then we want to look at it being the head. We would want to look, is it the left side, the right side? What part of the brain, where was it? But she said, and I'm feeling like it may have been the right side. Well, what this can mean is that you are being taken advantage of mentally. So someone is trying to make you like mentally incapacitated, right? So they're looking to limit your ability to outsmart them or the circumstance. And if you can't identify a person that is doing this in your life, it's going to be more of like a situation. Sometimes it's even like the company you work for or something like that. I do feel that there's somebody behind this. I feel there are even several people who are affecting this situation. It's essentially this. It's a major wake-up call for you because that's how you feel. And if that's how you feel, that you are under attack, you are being mentally limited from accomplishing what it is that you need to accomplish in your life. Someone is trying to basically steal your mind away. You're going to have to take steps forward in boundary setting and reclaiming your independence, your self-empowerment. And this is no joke.
We have one from Jill.
Okay.
Are there any messages from my grandma, Lena A?
Okay. What's Jill's last name?
This is Jill Marie.
So many Maries is the middle name too. Okay, Jill Marie. And what is grandma's name?
Lena, L-E-N-A.
L-E-N-A.
Last name starts with an A.
She wants to know if she has any messages for her in general?
Yes.
Okay. So when your grandmother comes in here, she makes me feel like you're dealing with someone where you've been trying to communicate, but you're not really being heard. And so I get a bit of that closed throat chakra. Not to say you haven't spoken your piece, or you're not speaking your truth, but you did, and it's kind of being overlooked or rejected, you're being disrespected in some way. I feel you're getting pretty sick of repeating yourself. And she backs you in that. She also is talking about then what else? Okay, so what else do you do? If that continues to happen, you can't just endlessly allow for it to happen. You have to come at it with a new approach, set boundaries. But I also see her reaching down, picking up a box for you, and it almost looks to me like a jewelry box or a treasure box. Something almost reminding me of like porcelain, or it may have had like a lady on it in a dress, something like this, and bringing it from the floor up and handing it to you. And so that is symbolic, could be literal as well, but that is symbolic of her taking things that I believe have been handed down and giving them to you, reminding you that you have them, showing them to you again. Now, this is also going to be about your roots. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget where you came from. Don't forget where you're going. And stay steady, focused on you. Not so much everybody else and not everything that's going on outside of you. Stay focused on you. Okay.
Okay, this one is from Razlu.
Razlu.
I've been feeling so drained, like I'm in a fog. I'm so tired all the time. Been so bad, and all I do is sleep. What do you see in regards to that?
Well, I can't prescribe a diagnose, but what I'm seeing is an overabsorption of energy from around you. Everyone right now is in a toxic state of mind, fear, death, illness, despair, financial loss. We talked about this earlier, I think, with someone else's question or on TikTok. I did a free mini class on this. Go to my playlist and find a class called Empaths and the Pandemic. It's not just on the pandemic. It's also on other things that have been happening this whole past year that are leading to an overabsorption of toxic energy, that are showing an increase in depression, nightmares, anxiety, a general sense of despair. It's very hard to get our energy level up when we don't know how to block and when we don't know how to filter the toxic energy back out. That will train you in it. And if you want a more official training, go to IvyRiveraEmpathiceducator.com and click on Empathic Awareness.
Okay, this one is from Shelby.
Okay.
New member, Shelby.
Hi, Shelby. Welcome.
Which clairs do you feel I am most in tune with? I'm struggling to pinpoint for myself.
Okay. Again, we have, are you a psychic, a medium, or an empath? Free mini class coming up where I will be telling you what abilities you have. When is that again?
That is Thursday, February 4th, 8 p.m.
Okay, good. But in the meantime, to take a look at this, the clairs that I feel you narrowly are Clairempathy, Clairsentience, and Clairaudience. Clairempathy is it's the ability to know what other people are thinking and feeling. So this is based really on mental and emotional energy coming off of others, atmospheres, objects, animals, anything like that. Now, with clairaudience, we are talking about the ability to hear in our head what the spirits are saying. This makes you susceptible, and you do want to be careful with this ability that you're always guarding your thoughts. Negative and lower energies could come and put things in there that are not healthy. And you have to be careful, with things like self-sabotage, that's not ever coming from the light. But the other thoughts that might pop into your head, like song lyrics, messages from spirits where they're trying to get a message through you to someone else, helpful advice, wisdom, your brain may always be going, almost like there's another dialogue going on in there. And that, for example, is how I do mediumship. So when I sit down to do mediumship, I just turn on and I listen, and whatever I'm hearing in my head, I tell you what they're saying. So you have clairaudient ability. What was the other one I mentioned? Clairsentience?
Yes.
Okay. How do you remember these things? How are you even listening at all? So he's my hero. So clairsentience is kind of like clairempathy. It is the ability to feel what others are experiencing, but this has to do with what I call physical impressions. So if someone is sick, you might feel sick. If someone's having a heart attack, you may feel a pain in your chest, heart palpitations, things like this. It makes you really skilled in things like medical intuitive work. Okay.
We have another dream one. This is from Anne.
Of course it is.
Of course. There's two symbols that pop up. She said, her grandfather Frank came to her in a dream and his face was dripping with sweat. And also her Aunt Judy came and showed her a pink swatch.
A swatch, like a
Swatch
piece of
watch?
cloth?
I don't know. I just assumed swatch watch. But
Swatch watch? You're old. That's not, everyone's like, what was that? I think
Probably.
swatch is a piece of cloth. Okay, well, as far as, your dad coming in sweating is a sign of detox or releasing. So if there was anything that you had unresolved between you and your father, if your father had anything that was unresolved, or if there wasn't a proper goodbye, if there was a lacking in communication in some area, this is symbolic of essentially detoxing, releasing. You have a lot of dreams that you're peeing, right? Or you're like taking a dump and like everyone can see it. Something horrifying, right? These are actually really good signs. So things like that, where any gross like secretions of the body, it is a release. And so whatever was going on in the relationship or that you were thinking about in regards to him during that time, that was his way of getting rid of it. And there were probably other signs and clues, that these things were happening if you look around your life at that time. Now, when we talk about the other lady coming through with the pink swatch, we have to look at the color pink itself and what might it mean. A swatch would also be something that would be made into an item you would put on your body, I'm assuming, or at least look at and have around you in your house. So pink is about a brand new beginning. It can be about a brand new young love. Now, when I say a young love, I mean, even if you guys are older, it would feel youthful. It would feel like you're teenagers again. But typically when we see pink, it's about you starting over with something. Often it's about a business launch. It's about a brand new beginning in your life, so much so that it's like a bridge, from an old way into a new way. And it's full of possibilities and excitement. So she was celebrating with you. She was giving you a pink swatch.
People are hassling me for calling it a swatch watch.
That was like early 80s. I don't even remember.
Okay. This one is from Rachel.
Okay.
She said, this year, I've decided I would be working on me and my kids. I've been trying to heal from past trauma and develop my abilities. Do you see anything of me or any tips I might need?
Okay. Well, the first thing they said was you. So it was funny because you said I want to focus this year. I'm focusing on me and my kids. And they said, just focus on you. Now, of course, you're going to be focusing on your children, right? That's a given. Don't allow for even, okay, here's a good way to say this. Yes, it's important to focus on your children. It is also important that you're not using them as an escapist tool to avoid your own work. To say, well, they need me, or don't overcompensate over there. Too many people use their kids as an excuse to ignore, avoid themselves, and deprioritize themselves. Okay, this is no time to do that. So it's about you, they said. And what I feel you're going to be, here's a good way to say this. What would be best for you to do is go through a lot of therapy. And I feel, I can't prescribe a diagnosis, but I feel like I'm talking literal clinical therapy, okay? Talk with a trained professional about things that have happened from even way back when that led you to find acceptable other people's bad behavior. and why you allowed it to go on for so long, why you allow it to penetrate your life, your finances, your situation, your mental well-being, everything. Okay, we have to sort of get to the root of some of those issues, and it's a longer kind of process that requires some really skilled intervention to decipher what and where and how it's affecting you now. And so I think that would be well worth the time and the energy. And I think that the spiritual growth and development that's going to come for you is going to come from that. So a lot of people tend to divide those two up. And it's we have a class coming up here, a free mini class called Shadow Work. What is it and how do I do it? This would be a great example of that. Because shadow work has kind of gotten a bad rap, you know, that it's like something that maybe you did wrong, and it isn't necessarily. It's about the stuff that we don't want to deal with that is causing for darker energy to accumulate in our lives, you know? And so when you focus on that stuff, automatically the spiritual development and the healing will come in. And eventually I see you being able to use this to help others. Okay.
I want to thank Lola for a donation and Shelby for joining. That is awesome again. And I didn't get to this one earlier. Carrie had mentioned that you were right. She was offered the auditor position that you answered that a couple weeks ago.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yes. Jan said thanks. Anna Marie, Brooke, Jill, and Shelby all said thank you so much. And Shelby had added that she's literally in tears right now. So thank you.
Beautiful. All right, you guys, it was so good to get to spend this time with you again. If you missed church service last night, check it out. It's up here, Roots Revival Interfaith. It got published today. It's also on Pandora, iTunes, Google Play, all that good stuff. And I will see you back here next week for the next Ask Ivy tomorrow. Here with Reverend Dani Johnson, we are doing a free mini class called The Divine Feminine, how we are coming back to get in touch with our powerful feminine roots through patriarchy and racism and eradicate none of it, okay? None of it is going to take us over, people. We are here, and it's our time to shine. Thank you, Polly.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Spirit. Thanks, everyone.